The silent killer of your budget in 2026 is not luxury spending. It's not vacations, it's not expensive cars. It's not even shopping, it's your utility bills. Most people still think of utilities as fixed expenses that don't change very much, but that's no longer true. In 2026, utilities have quietly become one of the fastest growing pressure points in everyday life. Because the increases happen gradually, most people don't fully realize how much damage they're causing. Think about how many systems your life depends on: electricity, internet, water, phone service, streaming, cloud storage, security subscriptions, home services. Modern life runs on monthly access, and every single one of those systems has become more expensive over time, not dramatically all at once, but slowly enough that your brain adapts before you react. That's the trick. A $5 increase doesn't feel serious, neither does 10. But when 10 different services increase slightly over the course of a year, your entire financial baseline changes, and most people never stop to calculate the combined effect. That's why utility inflation is so dangerous. It hides inside routine. Nobody wakes up panicking over a slightly higher electricity bill. Nobody cancels everything because internet prices increased a little. Nobody notices an extra subscription charge immediately. But together, these recurring costs create constant financial leakage, and recurring leakage is worse than one-time spending, because it never stops. A one-time purchase hurts once. A recurring bill quietly drains money every month forever. Now add another layer. In previous generations, utilities were simpler. People paid for fewer systems because daily life depended on fewer connected services. Today, digital dependency is part of survival. You cannot realistically function without internet, mobile access, or digital payments, without software ecosystems, without subscription-based tools. So utility spending no longer feels optional, it feels mandatory. That psychological shift changes everything. Once an expense becomes psychologically required, people stop evaluating it critically, and companies understand this very well. That's why so many modern business models are subscription-based. Subscriptions create predictable recurring revenue. But for consumers, they create invisible accumulation. You don't feel the total weight because it's fragmented across dozens of small automatic payments. And automatic payments are psychologically dangerous because they remove friction. The less friction a payment has, the less awareness you have. This is one of the biggest financial traps of modern life. People think budgeting fails because of large mistakes. But most budgets fail because of unnoticed repetition. Tiny recurring expenses repeated continuously over time. And utility bills are the perfect example. Now let's talk about energy costs specifically. Electricity prices have become unstable due to infrastructure pressure, environmental shifts, supply costs, and growing digital consumption. Homes use more power than ever before. Larger screens, constant charging, smart devices, and remote work equipment, streaming systems, air conditioning, gaming setups, and cloud-connected devices. Modern convenience consumes constant energy. And because usage grows gradually, people normalize higher bills the same way they normalize rising prices everywhere else. But normalization doesn't reduce financial impact, it only delays awareness. The same thing happens with internet and phone services. Companies slowly restructure pricing tiers and introduce hidden fees. They reduce basic plan quality and push consumers toward premium options. Most people barely notice when their monthly bill increases slightly. But multiplied across multiple services over several years, the difference becomes enormous. Now combine electricity, water, internet, mobile service, subscriptions, streaming, and digital services. Suddenly your basic living costs are consuming a much larger percentage of your income than they used to. And here's the most important part. These expenses don't feel emotional enough to trigger urgency. That's why they become silent killers. People emotionally react to big purchases but ignore recurring pressure. And recurring pressure is exactly what slowly destroys financial flexibility. Once too much income becomes committed to fixed systems, something changes. You stop feeling financially free. Even before paying for food or entertainment, your money already belongs to systems. That creates invisible stress, not panic, not crisis, just constant low-level pressure. And constant low-level pressure changes behavior over time. People become more mentally exhausted, more reactive, more financially anxious, not because of one catastrophic expense, but because their financial life slowly became automated around recurring extraction. That's the real issue. Modern budgets are no longer destroyed by reckless spending. They're destroyed by silent accumulation, and in 2026, utility bills have become one of the most powerful examples of that invisible financial pressure. Because the problem isn't just that life got more expensive. It's that modern life now charges you continuously just to remain connected.